99.9 Punk World Radio FM. You guys already know what time it is. Right now, we got Gut Balloon right here live on the radio station airwaves. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. How are you doing?
Hello, welcome to the radio.
Oh man, doing great, man. Best I can possibly be. Super stoked to have you guys on the radio station airways. Definitely shout out to Taryn of CBC Saskatchewan for actually getting us connected and connecting the dots for this broadcast.
Yeah, shout out.
Taryn's our guy.
Yeah, he was actually, when he actually messaged me about you guys, he was actually at one of your shows. I don't know if he was, like, front and center stage or if he was backstage, but he was like, yo, you gotta check these guys out. So he was right in front of you guys when he hit me up, so I knew right then and there you guys must have something magic on that stage.
Here's a guy. Sorry, we can't...
Technical stuff with Bender and Landon here. I'm not sure if they're
technical
difficulties or whatnot here. But yeah, Taryn, he was at our release show. He's at a lot of our shows, but I think he came up and talked to me at that one and was like, yeah, you know, we're trying to set some stuff up, and yeah, we're stoked to be a part of this little interview here. That's awesome.
But I know you guys are very busy individuals, so of course I'm gonna cut right to the chase and get right into things. But I gotta take you back to the beginning of Gut Balloon, also GB Loon. I was wondering if you can tell us the story behind this amazing band, and of course, how did you guys all first meet and come together as one to form this band?
I guess I'll take that one. It is kind of a complicated thing. In fact, I feel like people this might set the record straight finally, but GB Loon was my kind of solo moniker for a while. It still sort of is. When I'm doing things separately, that's the name I use. And then I wanted to kind of start playing shows with the sound a little more filled out with a full band. And so when it was with the full band, it was GB Loon and the Loonies. And that's when started bringing in other guys, including Tyler Cisa here from the chat on drums and Ethan Bender on guitar. We had a few other guys playing bass and stuff. And then when we had a full album coming out in 2019, it was more like folk punk sort of stuff. And kind of behind the scenes as a little guest sort of surprise, we decided to make an EP of like kind of 80s punk sounding stuff as like our own little side project. It was going to be a bit of a joke, and we were calling it Gut Balloon. And then early 2020, we released that, just kind of dropped it on Groundhog's Day, kind of without telling anybody. And then people responded pretty well to it, and kind of seemed like people liked those songs as much or more than the other ones we were playing. So we were kind of like, let's just play entire shows as Gut Balloon instead of leaving it as kind of this joke surprise release. And so we kind of focused on it a little more and then made a full album this last year with that project. So it's kind of morphed from Loonies into Gut Balloon. It's kind of all the same people, but Gut Balloon's the kind of punkier version of it.
And also as well, October 9th of 2019, you guys actually released the amazing 10-track album titled Looney Tunes. I was wondering if you can actually just dig into this album a little bit, and of course, tell us a bit more about this amazing album. And of course, is there actually any hard copies available to be purchased today, if there is any still available?
Yeah, so one of the fun things that we did with that was we got it put onto tape, which a lot of bands are doing. It's fun to have cassettes and stuff for the merch table. But one of the fun things we did was we got the test tape that you'll often get when you are kind of purchasing a big order of tapes. They'll send you one, make sure you like how it looks and sounds and stuff. And then from there, you normally just kind of sign off and they send you the full order. But we decided to kind of hold the order and just circulate the test tape. And so we bought a Walkman, and we kind of got a little list together of people who wanted to spend some time with the album. And so before it released online or anything like that, it was all like kind of word of mouth, and we'd sort of like send messages out. We'd say, here's the tape, here's the next person who wants it. If you can drop it off, cool. If not, give it back, we'll take it to them. And it ended up kind of, the project sort of took a life of its own, and the tape ended up making it with somebody to the UK, and so it was getting passed around on a different continent and stuff like that. And so it was all like, at any given time, there was only one person that could listen to the album until that sort of ran its course, and then we put it up on the streaming services and stuff like that. We do still have tapes available. I think they're
Yeah,
mostly
there's
just
just a handful, I think.
yeah, we mostly sell them at shows. I don't think we've got anything like set up to ship them or anything. Although if somebody sent us a message, we could easily do that. But yeah, what we've kind of been doing is we have some of those old tapes. It's kind of funny because with this last tour we did, we were not really playing many of those songs because now we're kind of focusing on the new one and playing this more gut balloon punky stuff. But we've been kind of putting in the download codes for the new album with the old one as well, so that we were just kind of selling 2-for-1 albums from the merch table this last tour.
And when you said as well about how end up in the UK just being passed around, was that the last known location that you guys know of that tape, or where was the last known location that you guys know of where that tape actually ultimately ended up?
It eventually made it back to us, which was pretty fun. There was yeah, it did, and I recently did a big move. And in the move, I found the Walkman with the tape in it. It was kind of lost for a little while. Yeah, but it's still in the
Pass it
Walkman.
around again.
Yeah, we could pass it around again if we want. Some of the magic might be lost since you can hear the songs anywhere now. But yeah, it went to the UK. There was some weird stuff with like it got lost in someone's luggage for a while. Like their luggage was lost by the airline, and then with it, the tape was in there, and so it was kind of in limbo for a while. It took some funny twists and turns, but eventually, the person who I can't remember. I think it was the person who originally took it to the UK. They kind of rounded it up and brought it back to Saskatchewan when they returned, and it made its way back to us. I think we circulated it a little bit after that, and then finally like put it up on the internet and started selling the other versions of the tape.
And I gotta say, that is probably one of the most extraordinary stories I actually heard on my radio station this far, man. That is honestly one of the most 90s but most smartest things I ever heard a band actually do, man. Because that's great. It kind of gives the people and the fans something first, right? I mean, a lot of bands just throw it out there and be like, oh, here's a CD, you can buy it. But the fact that you guys are giving your fans the first chance to listen to it, and pass it around from person to person is absolutely, that's punk rock right there.
It made it pretty special. I think people like enjoyed the idea that not only is this like an exclusive code or something, but it's literally the only version of the tape in circulation. So you could know that like you're the only person who can be listening to this song at this moment or something. And we got a lot of fun feedback from people that were like just kind of enjoying tape as a way of listening. It's kind of come back into popularity, I think, because it's cheaper to do than vinyl, but still kind of gives you a fun curio and stuff from shows. And we got like skaters and stuff that really kind of it brought them back to like bringing tapes along while you were skateboarding, because you could bring a Discman, but your disc would like skip and stuff as you were doing tricks, but the tapes were a little tougher. They didn't kind of like, you didn't have as much trouble listening to them while you're skateboarding and kind of out and about. So we got a lot of fun feedback from that. I think the tape movement, at least in 2019, was alive and well.
Yeah.
And also as well, October 25th of 2020, you guys actually released a music video for your song titled Playin' Tony Hawk that ultimately got recognized and shared by the legend himself. I was wondering if you could actually just tell us just a story actually behind that entire ordeal, and of course, what was it like just being recognized by one of the biggest and most famous skateboarders of all time?
I'm taking a lot of the questions here, so maybe like I'll see if Cisa, did that have any special meaning for you when Tony Hawk lifted us up as a band?
Yeah, I mean, like I skateboarded growing up. I still can't believe it's real, to be honest with you. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
the power of social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun. There's this weird thing, with the internet where you can kind of reach anybody, but also there's more and more people trying to do that, and you can kind of get lost in the shuffle. But yeah, we had this song about Tony Hawk. We did a video that was kind of trying to replicate some of the things that the games had you do, but in a sort of DIY style. We had a lot of fun with that. And when it was coming out, I I just went onto the website and kind of went through the like contact us thing and just sent kind of a heartfelt message to Tony Hawk and just said like, hey, we're just regular guys. We're not famous or anything, but we grew up playing your games. We love those games, and they inspired us to make punk rock and listen to more, new bands and stuff like that we discovered from that. And with Gut Balloon especially, there's a lot of like there's a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack reflected in the style of music. So those are pretty genuine sentiments. It was like, yeah, this was the first place I heard Dead Kennedys or Bad Religion and stuff as like a 8 or 9-year-old or whatever. So like it was a big moment. And the email to Tony Hawk was almost just like an appreciation post as much as anything. But I did kind of go like, it would be sweet if you check this video out. It's got a lot of kind of like fun things in it for people who have played the games, and I'm sure as a guy that was Tony Hawk was pretty involved with the process, at least for the first game and stuff. So I thought, if nothing else, this will kind of warm this guy's heart a little bit. And sure enough, I wake up one day to a DM from Tony Hawk, and he had shared our video on his various socials and stuff like that. It was pretty amazing to see. It was awesome.
Yeah, when I was doing the research for this interview and I saw the news reports, I ain't gonna lie. A part of me, I was like, man, I'm jealous as hell right now, because like Tony Hawk's my idol, but also I was jealous, but I wasn't envious. I was definitely happy for you guys, man, because at the end of the day, it's Tony freaking Hawk, man, and you guys did a phenomenal job on that music video, so it only made sense for the man himself to share that up.
Yeah, I got to shout out Quentin Friesen for his work on the video and stuff. He was the guy behind the camera and doing the editing and everything for that one. So shout out to Quentin for his work on that one too.
Yeah, thanks, Quentin.
And also as well, Christmas Eve of last year of 2022, you guys released the holiday punk song titled "Silent Night, Deadly Night, Santa's Gonna Kill You." I was wondering if you could actually just tell us a bit more about this song, and of course, are there actually any plans for you guys to release another festive instant classic this year in 2023, since the holiday season is pretty much among us?
Yeah, we've released a few holiday singles. We've kind of had a bit of a joke that we are a holiday band because at this point we've done a song that's kind of about Father's Day, and then we've done a song called we've got My Bloody Valentine. We've got It's Cold, which was a Christmas song from a couple years ago that we did, and then like you said, we did the Santa's Gonna Kill You song. Which is one of the more violent and sort of less warm and fuzzy of the Christmas songs that are out there. But I don't think we've got one in the chamber for this Christmas. We'd have to scramble pretty quickly to get another one out. But you never know, I guess. The funny thing with that song was that in a way it was kind of the first recorded glimpse of this horror punk project that we sort of took on in this last year, and so we started kind of leaning into an old punk rock trick and just kind of like using horror movies as inspiration for a lot of our songs and stuff. And so there's been quite a few Christmas horror movies, and it's kind of fun to fill up some of your festive viewing with some of the weird ones like Silent Night, Deadly Night. There's Krampus. There's quite a few out there, and so that one's kind of borrows from a few different films, but it was I don't think it was the first horror punk song that we started playing live or anything, but it was the first one that we recorded. That one we recorded kind of on a whim. We just decided we wanted to put out a Christmas single, and so we were. You remember how we recorded that one?
Yeah, it was kind of just on a whim. I think we recorded it at our own little makeshift studio jam space, and yeah, it kind of is what it is. It's kind of just a nice little Christmas ripper,
Our very own Ethan Bender, who plays guitar in our band, mixed it and everything, and we had a lot of fun just kind of like doing that one all ourselves, everybody in the band, and it was it seemed to come together pretty quickly, and it was kind of raw and fun. And
Yeah.
after that, we got to play our first of two Friday the 13th shows in 2023. One was in January, and then we did another one a few weeks ago in October. Yeah, that was kind of the start of the horror punk movement of Gut Balloon.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, upon discovering this song, it is definitely getting added to my 2023 festive playlist, man. Because at the end of the day, I love when punk rock bands release some sort of Christmas song. Because at the end of the day, it takes me away from regular radio where they had that Mariah Carey bullcrap playing 24/7. Some people like it, but I mean, it makes me just want to jump off a cliff.
Yeah, I'm all about like the alternative, Christmas playlist with the ones that don't make it onto the radio and a lot of the sort of more twisted Christmas songs.
Yeah, it's a nice little change of scenery.
Yeah, I worked in the mall a lot, when I was younger, and so those songs I never need to hear them again. Most of the most of the radio Christmas songs, I'm good on those. I think maybe forever.
Especially as well, those other radio stations, they play the Christmas music on a loop, I think starting in like early November right up to Boxing Day. So it's man, like just ease up on that, dude. Like Halloween just ended. You could like give us a week, all right? Just give us a week after Halloween to kind of brace ourselves for this crap.
I know. I'm with you there. For me, it's like I like a lot of the sad Christmas songs too. I don't mind saying that. Your Sufjan Stevens and things like that. There's a lot of good Christmas music out there that's ignored by the radio. The radio shuffle.
But also as well, this past September, you guys had the opportunity to join legendary punk rock band 10 Foot Pole on their Winning Canada tour. I was wondering if you could actually just tell us a bit more about life on the road with 10 Foot Pole, and of course, what was it like just being able to travel and perform alongside them throughout the entire tour?
It was awesome to play with them. We actually only ended up doing the one show with them in our hometown. They were kind of, I think, playing with local openers on various dates of their tour. We ended up kind of going on our own album backing tour right after that show, so it kind of felt like it was all part of the same swing. But the first show was with them, and it was awesome. They were super professional. It's great seeing some of those acts that have been doing it for so long, some of those bands that you grew up listening to and stuff, and then sharing a stage with them, always pretty special. And then the life on the road was super special. You're going across Western Canada with some of your buddies and playing shows, getting sweaty, and just kind of going on long drives and doing all kinds of stuff. Cease, what were some of your takeaways from life on the road?
Oh man, it was great. Have you ever slept on a kitchen floor before? Like it's.
I have when I was drunk, but not on tour.
Yeah. Lots of.
Luckily, I was a little more prepared, and it was all right. It was fun. It's not every day you get to do that, so.
Yeah.
And also as well, October 13th of 2023, so just literally over a month and a half ago, you guys actually released your most recent 13-track album titled Blood Flood 81. I was wondering if you can actually just tell us a bit more about this most recently released album, and of course, where can we actually buy or stream ourselves a copy of it today?
Yeah, so I mentioned that we've kind of been on this like horror punk kick, and that's kind of the what we have to show for it, I guess you could say. We to kind of paint a picture of where it all started, we ended up getting onto this residency in our hometown of Regina with the Creative City Center, and they have some really awesome programs for kind of up and coming artists, all kinds of artists from different media, and we got on for something called the RAD program with them, which you basically got the better part of 4 weeks to just kind of put yourself into various different projects, I guess, to kind of help to realize a vision of some kind. And it's kind of vague because it can look like a number of different things. You could kind of focus on videos, or like actually using that time to write and bring in extra musicians and stuff like that. We chose to use our time to kind of record this horror punk album that we had been kind of crafting a year or so leading up to that. And so the whole concept was with it was that we kind of been leaning into this this sort of 80s punk sound, and so ever since that kind of From the Gut EP where Gut Balloon was born. And so we thought it would be kind of funny, kind of interesting to think about whether or what it would look like if Gut Balloon was a band that was around in the early 80s, alongside classics like Dead Kennedys and Black Flag and guys like that. And let's just say that this band was also really obsessed with horror movies that were coming out at that time. So we chose 1981 to focus on. It's pretty classic for punk bands to base songs on horror movies and stuff like that. And so we kind of wanted to do some of that, but also make it our own thing a little bit. And the way we did that was by hyper focusing on one year. And so every song on Blood Flood 81 is about a different horror movie from 1981. The reason we picked that year is partly because of what it was for punk rock. It was a big year with, for bands like I mentioned, Black Flag, Damage, that kind of thing. But also a lot of big horror movies came out that year, like Evil Dead and Friday the 13th Part 2, My Bloody Valentine. There's quite a few big classics that came out that year. And so I started to kind of watch a ton of these movies. I think I ended up watching probably about between 20 and 30, and just kind of waited to see if inspiration would kind of visit me while I was watching these films and stuff. And I would kind of be writing down phrases and ideas and stuff that I thought might make their way into songs. And so in the end, we had 13 different horror movies that we were going to base songs on. And so I started writing those songs, putting the words down and kind of chord progressions and stuff. And then I would bring them to the band. And then we, during our residency, we got to record all those songs with Riley McLennan at the Creative City Center. And then there were also a bunch of other fun things that were a part of that whole process. We got to do a screening. So on the full moon that was a part of that 1 month residency, we did a screening of An American Werewolf in London, which is a 1981 movie that we've got a song about. And so we kind of worked that into a fun like background vocal recording night and stuff. We got to do a bunch of fun things like that. We got to do all this in the Creative City Center building, which is kind of has some fun old haunted stories to go with it and stuff. It was all kind of part of this like horror movie, creepy crawly concept that we had. And then the final product came out on Bandcamp on October 13th, Friday the 13th. We had a release show with some of our friends in the Won'ts and Man Meat and Hit the Streets. It's a lot of fun. You mentioned wanting to know where people can hear it. We've kind of run into some interesting walls with it. Right now, the kind of director's cut, what we're calling it, is the version that's available on Bandcamp. It's the full 13-track version. It has a bunch of different like samples that are a part of the songs, and so I kind of went a little bit overboard, kind of like combing through weird like obscure news stories and stuff from 1981 to kind of give it a little more of that feel of that year. And so I started pulling all these weird audio recordings off of news broadcasts and PSAs and trailers and things like that. And so those are worked into the songs, sometimes at the end, sometimes at the beginning, sometimes in the middle. And then, of course, when we tried to put the album up on the streaming services, a lot of those things got flagged. And so we needed to kind of like adjust the songs. We kind of got clean versions without those things made. And then uh, unfortunately, we ran into like further issues where they thought we were trying to manipulate the algorithms and stuff by naming songs after like other popular things, and so they didn't want to put out the album because a song was called Evil Dead or a song was called Friday the 13th Part 2 and things like that. And then they didn't like the album artwork because there was kind of like an homage to Black Flag, but done with the Saskatchewan bars instead of the Black Flag bars. They didn't like that. So there's been quite a few hoops to jump through. So at this point, it's kind of been funny. Bandcamp's where you find it. It'll be up on the streaming services. We might have to change the titles or something. We might have to, I don't know, do various things to the artwork, whatever. The real pure vision is on Bandcamp. Eventually, there'll be another version up on Apple Music and Spotify and all that. But for now, Bandcamp's the place to go.
And we also have a user-submitted question here from one of our day one interview watchers. This individual has been watching pretty much every interview almost since the beginning of Punk World Radio. But RS70 UGHC wants to know, what was the first live punk band you guys ever went to see in person?
First one I went to see, oh man, I'd have to think way back. Cisa, do you know what yours would have been?
Honestly, I don't go to a lot of punk shows. I think maybe
someone we were playing with. One of my first ones,
stepping stone, I guess, would be like a local hardcore band, and that would probably be the closest thing to punk show that I've seen.
Yeah, I think oftentimes that is like the first one is kind of a local band. So when I was probably like 14 or 15, we had a pretty popular band in Regina called The Means. They're kind of a melodic hardcore sort of thing. And I saw one of their shows. That would probably be the first sort of punk adjacent thing that I went to. And then I don't know who the first like super popular one I would have seen would have been. For a while it was like Cisa said, seeing like a lot of local bands and stuff, and then I guess Fucked Up eventually came to the Exchange. I think was the first place I saw them. I saw them a couple times. That was another big one. And then lots of the old guys have come around and stuff too. I didn't see too many of them back in the day when they were young, but luckily, bands like Bad Religion and NoFX, and even like bands like Dayglow Abortions and Ripcords and people like that, they still make their rounds around Saskatchewan. So, I found myself in a lot of those mosh pits too.
Before we part ways here tonight, guys, I have to ask, what is next for Gut Balloon? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you guys still want to talk about, touch on, or promote? We still got to hear live on the radio station airwaves.
I guess the main thing is getting this friggin' album up on the streaming services. That's our next thing.
That's priority number one for now.
Yeah, after that, actually, it's kind of all a mystery right now. We've talked about kind of morphing things over again. We've always liked switching things up with this particular project, and so there's like kind of a country bluegrass album of songs that we have just kind of in the back pocket that we've talked about doing stuff with. We've got a few songs that we didn't have time to record in that
session.
During our residency. So we've kind of talked about doing a leftovers EP of some kind of other like horror movie songs, or just other songs that we've kind of jammed and haven't recorded yet. And then probably some shows in the future, maybe another tour back in this album of ours, that kind of thing. But there's nothing set in stone yet.
But obviously, I know how to follow you guys on social media. But for the individuals that are just discovering Gut Balloon right now, how can they go about following you guys across all social media platforms? That way, they can stay updated on everything you guys currently got going on, and of course, future-wise as well.
Yeah, so we're fairly active on Instagram. The handle is kind of still from back in the day. It's at g.b.loonband, I think. And but I think if you still put gut balloon into like the search, you'll find it. I want to verify that and just make sure that that it is in fact. Oh yeah, g.b.loon.band. You'll find us on there. And then for Facebook, if you use Facebook, it's all under GB Loon. It's kind of like these are umbrella accounts for like any of the sort of solo stuff that I put out as GB Loon, or things we do as the Loonies or Gut Balloon, any of the sort of various versions of this creative force of ours, this tornado
project.
they'll all kind of end up. We'll talk about all of them on those accounts, so that's where you can find us.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for giving not only myself, but the radio station Airways a bit of your time here this evening. Also, one more time, shout out to Taryn Cochran of CBC Saskatchewan for coordinating this and actually making this interview possible as well. So shout out to him. And of course, you guys as well again for your time. Super stoked to hear what comes next from GB Balloon. And of course, hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon. But for now, definitely have yourselves a phenomenal night.
Sure.
Hey, thank you for having us on. Yeah, this was a lot of fun, man. Thanks.
Hey, you're most certainly welcome, guys. Definitely have yourself a killer night out there in Saskatchewan.
You too.
You too.